Hey guys, it's 1.6, our last lesson for this unit. Planning a higher level essay on Medea. Let's plan this bad boy, huh? Okay, you got to write the questions down for this video. First of all, the higher level essay, a reminder of what it is. It is the thing that is worth 20% of your score. It explores a line of inquiry. A line of inquiry is a question that you ask about the text that you then investigate. Your essay is going to explore the answer to this question. It's going to explore it by making an argument that answers the question. And so this argument will be a debatable assertion, a point that you make that answers the central question and then that you support throughout the essay. You do have to support the argument with examples. I think for this essay, having 3 very good examples would be appropriate. Eventually, you'll probably need more than that. It also analyzes and evaluates authorial choices. Authorial choices is another word for literary aspects. This is what we English teachers are always trying to get you to look more closely at. It is looking at diction, imagery, tone, structure, and atmosphere specifically. Eventually we have to get it up to 12 to 1,500 words, and that's why you'll probably need more than 3 good examples. But at this point, 750 words is all that you need. So you can do this. Where are we in the inquiry process? Well, you asked your question already. That was the line of inquiry in 1.4. You also work to gather and organize your information in 1.5. Now, you might need to go back and gather more information, and that's this idea of, this cycle being recursive. We go back and do it over and over and over again. But you have found some examples, at least, in 1.5. You also did a lot of analyzing in 1.5, and that is going to get us to interpretation after we evaluate the analysis. And you'll probably keep working on that now as you're writing. Evaluating the text as well in 1.5, and planning the essays, the drawing conclusions part, I think is really what you're thinking about in 1.6 when you make your thesis statement. And then finally, you're going to be writing the essay that will communicate your findings. Part of that is planning it by writing a thesis statement here for 1.6. So where are we? Well, we are mostly in the blue and orange, but sometimes we have to go back to these other ones if we need more information or if we need to spend more time there. Think of this inquiry process as recursive, meaning we go through it more than one time. It's an over and over and over and over kind of cycle. How do I write a central assertion or thesis statement? I like this word central assertion, and I use it a lot when I talk about thesis statements because I think sometimes we've heard the word thesis statement so much we don't really know what it means anymore. If you think of it as a central assertion, this is your key point that you are making, explaining something interesting about your line of inquiry. You're arguing a point about it. So you need to have some key things in this thesis statement. You need the genre, the author, the literary element or aspect you're looking at, and a deep idea, a rich idea, a meaning that is created by using this literary element. So here are those 4 things. And here's an example, and this comes from some of the sample lines of inquiry we looked at in 1.4. In the 1972 drama Sisue Bansi is Dead, Athol Fugard utilizes symbols of masks in the motif of acting to illustrate the dehumanizing and unjust treatment of Black South Africans during apartheid. Here's one from Medea. And here's the line of inquiry. How and to what effect does Euripides' play Medea utilize the poison motif to illustrate Medea's role as an other to a 5th century BC Grecian audience? So we need genre, author, literary element, deep idea. Check it out. What do you think about this? The thesis statement here, in the ancient Greek tragedy Medea, Euripides utilizes the motif of poison to illustrate Medea's role as an other who is outside of the Greek society of the 5th century BC. So it's, in a sense, taking your line of inquiry and turning it into a statement. Your green part might change a bit from how it was in the line of inquiry. In fact, all of these things could potentially change, but I think that's the one that would change the most. You have to come up with an interpretation of what Euripides' point, what his meaning was in doing what he did. And as we write the essay, this is going to be really the heart of the essay, that argument of the essay, and it may take a more precise form. All right, what are some tips for writing the essay? First of all, focus on the literary aspect. So for my example, I would focus on that poison motif and spend most of my time talking about the poison motif, various examples of it, and analyzing it using DITs. Diction, imagery, tone, and structure. The argument is the essence of your paper. That is what was in green. And so that's what you have to always remember to come back to when you're using these examples of your literary aspect. You have to go back to the green, go back to the green, go back to the green over and over. Don't worry too much about organization. You want an introduction and at least 3 body paragraphs and a conclusion. Beyond that, I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time looking at that because we just haven't had time to deal with it yet. So let that one go. And also let the little errors go as much as you can. It's easier for me to read a paper that has fewer errors, but at the same time, I don't want you to get bogged down in looking for all of the little mechanical or conventional errors or usage of language errors at this point. We can come back to that and fix those things up later. Number 5, what is criterion A, knowledge, understanding, and interpretation, looking for? Well, first of all, I am grading your essay only on 2 criteria, criterion A and B. So these are the things I'm going to be looking for as I grade. First of all, for A, you need to deal with all parts of the play, the beginning, the middle, the end. You need to be using specific textual details. Think about those mastery checks and all the little tick marks I was making. You want lots of tick marks all throughout your essay, lots of details that are specific textual references. When you use your quotes, you want to keep them short, and I'll talk specifically about how to embed or integrate quotes as we talk about criterion D later on, but for now, just know to keep them short. Also, use the best examples. Don't just use the obvious one, but really look at all of the potential things you could write about and spend some time, thinking on it at a really deep level about these examples and how they work to connect to your specific idea. Find the best ones, not the obvious ones. And make sure you're arguing an interpretation. You're making a point. You're taking an interpretive stab. You're making a debatable assertion in that thesis statement about meaning in the play. How about criterion B, the other thing I'm grading? Well, make sure you're focusing on one key literary aspect. My example was the poison motif, but whatever you might be focusing on, code switching that Medea uses, the motif of storms, the motif of nautical or sea imagery, whatever it might be that you are specifically focusing on, make sure it's just one key literary aspect, okay? Find examples from all parts of the play, not just one section, but from multiple sections of the play, beginning, middle, and end. And then make sure you first focus on the non-debatable, the things that cannot be argued. And that's when you're looking at what is really there in the text that you can analyze, using diction, imagery, tone, structure, and atmosphere to do that. You spend most of your time there. Then you evaluate the examples and look at how the example affects the audience, making debatable assertions about that. And then you get to the interpretation. You connect it to the rich idea and you say, how this is creating meaning. And to do that, you think about what Euripides potentially, what his point potentially was in doing what he did. Okay, that's all I've got for you. Good luck as you work on your thesis statement. That's what you're going to submit for your 1.6. And as you write your essay, think of this as a first draft of your essay. All right, good luck to you, and let me know how I can help you.